I know it's been a really long time. Um, I didn't really care for Henry Danger season 5. So here I am, finally reviewing it, like probably 2 months later after reviewing season 4. The first episode, it's Henry's birthday, but he keeps getting interrupted due to having to do crime fighting or whatever. It actually ends on, a pretty decent ending, for a main character. Usually it'll be like they get pound down on, and then they don't even end up getting, something good. But it ends with, him still getting his cake. He shares it with a raccoon. Decent start to the season. The next episode, they continue this thing that I don't think I mentioned about Captain Man having a bad memory. It's not a very funny joke to me. Occasionally it lands, but I don't really get why they're doing it. But, they'll do something really, really important. He'll forget why they're doing it, and then he'll laugh about it. It's just, I don't really get the joke, but they have to disarm a bomb. Um, they end up fucking it up because it's Henry Danger. So he ends up having to swallow it. The third one is a two-parter with these superheroes, and one of them's played by Jerry Trainer. They accidentally take credit for stopping a villain, though it was actually Captain Man that had did it. So now Captain Man doesn't like him, but of course Captain Man ends up liking them again when they talk about how they're fans of Captain Man. So it feeds into his ego. It's a fine two-parter. They kind of end up doing them dirty by not even attempting to rescue them when they get sent off into space by one of Captain Man's villains. Um, Kind of a prick thing to do. Then Captain Man doesn't even want to apologize. Jasper wants to get a girlfriend. She ends up breaking up with him off screen, so this episode's pointless. I hate how they do that. I don't even care for the romance plots, but why bring it up if you're just gonna end up doing stupid stuff like this? They did the same thing with Henry. They do the same thing in most Nickelodeon shows. They set up this mysterious villain that I don't really care about. Um, they, it's not entertaining to me. But they go to like a cactus convention, and she's allergic to airs, so like the whole point of that joke is to she's around sharp things, and she'll be exposed to air. The next one is a three-parter about Captain Man trying to save the owner of a knockoff Twitter, and I didn't really care for it. Henry Danger loses his powers, so he doesn't have it for the rest of this season now. He ends up sacrificing his powers to save the day. Now, I know, it was kind of like a one-off episode quite a few seasons ago, but I do want to criticize this part. They make this whole big deal about if Henry goes to school with a broken arm, people will know he's Kid Danger, since Kid Danger broke his arm. Well, if Henry takes a sick day off when he's, you know, Kid Danger for a few days, wouldn't people come to the same conclusion with Henry, being sick? Guess not. Um, it's a fine episode. The next one is an episode that's apparently a crossover, even though it's a show I've never heard of. Usually, crossovers, I've either watched the show or at least heard of it, but I've never heard of this show. And it's a crossover with like a night time traveling show. It's really meh. I didn't care for it. Apparently, a lot of people online didn't like it either, because months before I even watched this season, I saw people ranking Henry Danger because of the fact that the Henry Danger movie's coming out. I don't plan to watch it. Um, but yeah, because the Henry Danger movie came out, people were ranking the seasons, and I saw plenty of people go out of their way to bring up that episode when ranking season 5 and how they didn't like that episode. I didn't care for it, but I don't get why people hate it that much. Like, it wasn't that bad. There was actually some solid jokes in the episode. Grand Theft Auto is an episode where Henry, has to steal and hide a bird because the bird accidentally finds out he's Kid Danger and keeps repeating it. Um so, it was a pretty decent episode. There was a joke where they tried to clone the bird to be an exact copy, and they accidentally kept saying that Henry was Kid Danger, so the clones just ended up failing too. And of course, Captain Man tries to solve it by murdering them. It is revealed in the next episode that Piper has a new boyfriend. We never see him again. Um, so, another one off thing. Though it's never said if they break up or anything. But, anyways, it turns out he's related to Mitch Bilski. Not only that, he's related to Jeff. And not only that, a one off character that was mean to Charlotte is apparently also related to them. But she doesn't appear in the episode, they just mentioned that. It's a pretty fun episode, I liked it. Captain Man has his own little man cave to get away from people, but it doesn't work out because in this episode, even though he's apparently had it a long time, people find out about it now, so his little spot's kind of ruined, and he ends up blowing up the man cave, and it is now revealed that he's done this before, and Schwaz has actually made multiple other man caves that are all lined up on top of each other. It's a cool but also kind of lazy reveal, because, like, he apparently had a man cave that looks exactly like that one. They couldn't have used this as an excuse to get a new design, but I guess it makes sense since it is the final season. We find out that Swaj is friends with Bigfoot, and they end up having to shave him because apparently he's like basically a normal human, which is kind of odd. So they end up shaving him, and then he wears his own hair as underwear. Um, I didn't know what they were gonna do, but that was pretty funny. Because a hunter had trapped them all in a thing, but luckily, they were able to shave him and get that on him before they got him out of the trap. It was a pretty decent episode, but honestly, just a lot of the episodes this season I didn't care for. Charlotte gets stuck in a vacuum, so she has to pretend to be a ghost for Henry to get her out. Didn't care for this episode. It was fine. Next episode, however, hated it. Least favorite episode. It was clearly fan service, which is fine. It wasn't fan service for me because I'm not that type of fan. I wasn't really engaged in Henry and Charlotte's fucking would-be romance. This is really weird because, they literally state pretty early on in the show that they're just friends. But they decide in this episode that they're gonna have Charlotte have a dream about her kissing Henry, but she ends up not liking it because she only sees Henry as a friend. So she goes to Piper for advice. And this is what, annoyed me even more. They make this big deal out of this thing, and it goes nowhere. Not Piper, Jasper has like this invisible thing in this episode only. So he's able to eavesdrop on Charlotte. He wanted to prank Piper or something. He doesn't even end up doing that. And Charlotte lies and says that she has a crush on Jasper because obviously she doesn't want to tell Piper that she has a crush on her brother. So Jasper hears that. You'd think that would lead to some, funny gag or something. Jasper trying to hint that he likes her too and trying to get her to date him and just something like that. But no, it's literally there for no reason. He he thinks he found out that Charlotte likes him, and that goes nowhere. Um, I don't know what they were doing with it. They end the episode with fucking Henry having the same dream too. So now he is having a weird dream about Charlotte. I didn't like the episode. It fucking sucked. And it doesn't go anywhere since they never end up dating, which I am definitely fine with that. However, the very next episode I actually really enjoyed. They find out that there's moles living near the man cave, and it's a really fun episode. Captain Man ends up getting mad. The fucking moles only want like change, literally change, not money. They want like, I don't remember the exact saying, but it's something cents. But Captain Man doesn't want to give it to them and instead punches one of them. But of course, it doesn't really end badly for Captain Man. It ends badly for Henry, and they go to his house and trash his house. Even though Henry was the one that was fine with the deal and was gonna go along with it. It's a pretty funny episode. Swaj develops an AI and it falls in love with him and dictates Captain Man as a threat, and decides it should kill Henry. It should kill Henry, Jasper, and Charlotte too, because they don't see Captain Man as a threat. It's a fine episode, but not much to say about it. Captain Man and Kid Danger attempt to take down mob boss Ross, and of course, they decide to keep going with that joke that Henry falls in love with bad girls, though it doesn't really go anywhere. Didn't care for this episode. The next episode, Henry Danger, there's a musical curse over Swellview. So it's a musical because Frank Keeney wants everybody to love him and he decides to do a musical curse for some reason. Apparently it's only in Swellview though. It was a pretty good episode. I liked it. Um, Captain Man ends up saving this guy, and in return, he offers him a chair, any chair. But they decide to pick a massage chair, and that guy doesn't want to let it go. But they basically steal it. All this happens off screen, but I thought that was pretty funny. And well, because of that, you'll never guess what happened. Henry, Charlotte, and Jasper fight over the massage chair. Um, I thought it was a pretty good episode. I liked it. Henry and Captain Man, I don't know what I was saying, decide to try and catch a package thief, but only because the tired joke about, Captain Man being in love with Henry's mom. At first, he sees it as no big deal, but when he finds out packages have been stolen from Henry's mom, he wants to do it now. That guy actually does reappear for an episode later, though it ends like they're gonna beat the crap out of this guy in this episode, but they treat him like he's a friend the next time we see him. It's kind of funny. I didn't care for the next episode. It was an episode about fucking Piper. And it was like right after she had found out that Henry was Kid Danger. I didn't mention that in the Package Thief episodes. She finds out that Henry is Kid Danger. It's kind of random. Apparently, the tubes are all around the city and can be found pretty much anywhere. That doesn't feel very responsible. I always figured they led to some blocked off area in the shop, but apparently not. But yeah, it's some knockoff Terminator episode. They feel the need to acknowledge that a lot too. And they have a robot that tries to attack them, and Piper is there from the future or whatever. It's not a very good episode. The next episode is about Captain Man having a baby because of like an alien or something. I don't even want to get into this episode. I did not care for it. Henry is apparently not really scared of horror movies. I like this episode since I can relate to that. Um, so they try and use an invention, of course, to, um, you know, measure his scaredometer levels or something like that. And of course, he never ends up getting scared, but they end up being able to scare him by basically like torturing him. Like they do like some kind of invention and turn him into some kind of creature or whatever. And that is how they get to scare him. And they count that as a win. It's a funny but messed up ending. I like that episode. They bring back Invisible Brad and they make him visible again. Um, Pretty decent episode. Not much to say about it. You know, he ends up being kind of overweight and not the best looking because he hasn't been taking care of himself since he turned invisible, which makes sense. Um, it would be pretty hard to take care of yourself when you're invisible. And Envy Graham Wall, it's an episode about people wanting to take pictures in front of a wall because social media. It's a fine episode. There's some funny moments throughout it. The next episode is a Christmas special about how moths have been eating all the Christmas trees, and they actually have a pretty funny joke where Swaj is able to make a Christmas tree talk. Um, but of course, that leads to like devastation or something because people can't be in the Christmas spirit without Christmas trees. I don't get that, especially since, you know, ever since I was a kid, I've had a plastic tree. I know that might be a little controversial, but I feel like a lot of people have plastic trees. My grandma also has a plastic tree. Um, I don't know why nobody didn't just get a plastic tree. Cutting down trees every year for um, Christmas just isn't the same. You're just gonna end up throwing it away at the end of the month. Um, the next episode, there's a guy that punishes people for littering and stuff. Mitch once again appears in this episode. He was also in the Bigfoot episode. So, you know, he's getting a few more appearances. He had stopped appearing for quite a while. Um, it was fine. There are some funny jokes near the end where they end up breaking all his rules, and he gets really angry about that. Captain Man gets a replica of the Thanos glove, but in this universe, it's a Thanos boot, and they call it Theranos. They end up breaking it, so you know they decide to go to a fucking alternate reality and steal it from another Captain Man, because in the past we had actually seen them go to an alternate reality. Cool way to bring back continuity, especially such a unique storyline like that. Um, it was a pretty good episode. I liked it. They have a knockoff Tinder episode where Captain Man's tired of fighting the same villains, but then it ends with him still wanting to fight the toddler. It sucked. Charlotte has a date with a guy. They decide to have it at the man cave because he's a celebrity. Um, I didn't really care for this episode either. Piper ends up ruining it by posting pictures of him on social media. And then now people are showing up here and they basically just blow the secret identity of where the man cave is. It's so stupid. Then they write it off as how they're gonna close the restaurant at the end of the day or something. Wow. Really lazy. Captain Man and Henry go to an escape room, but are kind of forced to babysit, so they're going with two other people. And it turns out that the guy they accidentally blew the factory up of is mad at them. So he's gonna blow them up. But he has like an indestructible booth or something. Not to mention Captain Man can't die anyway. It's a stupid episode, and it helps set up the spin-off Danger Force that I never watched. I really wasn't even watching this season because I had outgrown the show by then, unfortunately. I watched a few episodes, like the phone wall one, the Envy Graham wall. I had seen that one before, but only because I was bored one day and scrolling through cable. But yeah, it was a way to set up Danger Force. And it was a weird way to do it. The next episode is called Remember the Crimes, which is an episode where Captain Man and others tell Piper about stuff she's missed, since she obviously hasn't known Henry is Kid Danger until this season, so she's missed 4 seasons of stuff. I honestly don't even remember it. That's how bad that one is, apparently. A girl chains herself outside Captain Man's place because she's heard a rumor that that's where Captain Man is. So apparently it's just gotten so bad that people just know that now. It's so weird. But she gets mad because her phone was stolen or some shit. She is really annoying. I hope she wasn't that annoying in Danger Force. Yeah, I didn't really care for this episode. They end up going and finding a bunch of supervillains working together, like Dr. Minyak and the toddler and stuff. And they're trying to build this device to kill Captain Man or whatever. And it'll get rid of his indestructibility, which matters later. Kid Danger doesn't want to be a sidekick anymore, so he wants to quit being a superhero maybe too, because he's kind of dedicated his whole life to it. Piper's even graduating before him. They give us some excuse like she did like so much summer school that it counted. That's not how it works. Pretty dumb. I didn't care for this 4-parter. It was against a villain I didn't care about. I never really cared for Drex. He was one of my least favorite villains. They end up taking him down with the machine I had mentioned earlier. And Kid Danger fakes his death. Said that he had died stopping Drex or whatever. And that is it. That's the end of Kid Danger. And the episode ends with like him, Charlotte, and Jasper still fighting crime in some other city. It was a 4-parter that I did not care for. Season 5 just wasn't very good in my opinion.